Success is not an accident, and productivity is not luck. A productive life is built deliberately, one choice, one habit, one discipline at a time. Many people stay busy, but few are truly productive. They confuse movement with progress and activity with achievement. Jim Rohn taught that life responds to structure, and without structure, potential remains unused. If you want more from life, more results, more peace, more growth, you must build your life on strong foundations. Today is not about motivation alone. It's about principles, because motivation fades, but principles endure. These are the 5 pillars that support a productive life. Remove one, and the structure weakens. Build all 5, and life begins to rise. Responsibility is where every productive life truly begins. The moment a person accepts full responsibility for their life, their results, and their direction, something powerful shifts inside them. Until that moment, progress remains slow and uncertain because blame quietly steals energy. When you blame your past, your parents, the economy, or circumstances, you give away your power. But when you say, "This is my life and I am responsible for it," you take that power back. Jim Rohn often reminded us that life does not respond to excuses. It responds to responsibility. Productivity grows the instant you stop waiting for conditions to change and start changing yourself. Most people want better results without accepting better responsibility. They want success without ownership, comfort without effort, and growth without discipline. But life does not work that way. Responsibility means accepting that your habits, decisions, and daily actions are shaping your future, whether you are aware of it or not. Every productive person understands this deeply. They don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "What can I do better?" That question alone separates achievers from complainers. One question builds progress, the other builds frustration. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself in a negative way. It means empowering yourself in a positive way. It means understanding that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. You may not control where you started, but you absolutely control where you finish. A productive life is not built on perfect conditions. It is built on disciplined responses to imperfect conditions. When you accept responsibility, obstacles stop being excuses and start becoming assignments. Responsibility also brings clarity. When you own your life, you begin to see patterns. You recognize which habits move you forward and which ones quietly hold you back. You stop repeating the same mistakes because you stop justifying them. Instead of saying, "This is just how I am," you begin to say, "This is what I must change." That shift creates momentum. Productivity is not about doing more tasks. It's about making better choices consistently. Responsibility sharpens those choices. Another powerful aspect of responsibility is that it builds confidence. Real confidence is not loud or arrogant. It is earned. When you take responsibility and follow through on small commitments, you begin to trust yourself. You keep promises to yourself. You show up even when no one is watching. Over time, this self-trust compounds. You no longer need external motivation because your identity becomes aligned with action. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, and productivity becomes natural rather than forced. Responsibility also changes how you use time. When you stop blaming, you stop wasting hours in complaint, comparison, and distraction. You realize that every day is a gift and every hour is an opportunity. Productive people don't ask for more time. They take better responsibility for the time they already have. They understand that wasted time is wasted life. Once responsibility is accepted, procrastination loses its power because delay now feels expensive, not comfortable. At its highest level, responsibility creates leadership over your own life. You no longer wait for instructions, permission, or perfect motivation. You act because it is necessary, not because it is easy. Jim Rohn taught that the day you fully accept responsibility is the day you step into maturity. And maturity is the foundation of productivity. A life without responsibility drifts, but a life built on responsibility moves forward with intention, strength, and purpose. Clear purpose is the engine that drives a productive life. Without purpose, effort becomes scattered, and energy gets wasted. Many people stay busy from morning to night, yet feel unfulfilled because their actions are not connected to a meaningful direction. Jim Rohn taught that activity alone is not progress. Progress comes from acting with intention. When you have a clear purpose, every action gains weight. You know why you wake up early, why you say no to distractions, and why you keep going when the excitement fades. Purpose transforms ordinary work into meaningful progress. A productive life requires more than goals written on paper. It requires purpose written into the heart. Purpose gives context to discipline. Without it, discipline feels like punishment. With it, discipline becomes a choice. When your purpose is clear, you stop chasing everything and start committing to something. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Purpose becomes the filter through which you evaluate opportunities, relationships, and habits. If something does not serve your purpose, it no longer deserves your time. Clarity of purpose also creates emotional strength. Life will test you, delay you, and sometimes disappoint you. In those moments, talent alone will not sustain you, and motivation will not always show up. Purpose will. When you know why you are doing something, you can tolerate temporary discomfort. You can work through boredom, resistance, and fear because you're connected to a larger reason. Productive people are not immune to doubt, but their purpose keeps them moving forward even when doubt is present. Purpose simplifies decisions. One of the biggest reasons people feel overwhelmed is because they lack clarity. They say yes to too many things because they don't know what truly matters. When your purpose is clear, decisions become easier and faster. You no longer waste energy on unnecessary options. You begin to focus on high-value actions instead of low-impact activities. This focus creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence, and confidence fuels productivity. Clear purpose also aligns effort with results. Many people work hard but feel stuck because their effort is not aligned with a meaningful direction. Purpose ensures that your energy is invested, not just spent. It helps you prioritize growth over comfort and progress over pleasure. When your purpose is strong, you are willing to delay gratification because you understand the value of long-term rewards. Productive people don't sacrifice the future for the present. They invest the present for the future. Another powerful effect of purpose is that it gives your life identity. You stop defining yourself by circumstances and start defining yourself by direction. You are no longer just someone who is busy. You become someone who is building something. This identity shift is critical. When you see yourself as a person on a mission, your habits naturally begin to align with that mission. You protect your time, sharpen your skills, and raise your standards. Productivity becomes a reflection of who you are, not just what you do. Purpose is not something you find in one moment. It is something you clarify through reflection, learning, and honest self-evaluation. But once it becomes clear, it changes everything. It gives meaning to effort, strength to discipline, and direction to action. A productive life is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. And that only happens when purpose is clear and guiding every step. Discipline is the force that turns intention into reality. Without discipline, goals remain ideas and purpose remains theory. Jim Rohn often said that we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Productive people understand this deeply. They choose the small, manageable pain of discipline today to avoid the heavy, lifelong pain of regret tomorrow. Discipline is not about punishment or restriction. It is about self-respect. It is the decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Motivation is emotional and temporary. It rises and falls depending on mood, energy, and circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. It does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you decide. Waiting for motivation is one of the biggest traps people fall into. They say they will act when they feel inspired, but inspiration often comes after action, not before it. Productive people act first. They train themselves to move even when comfort is calling and resistance is loud. Daily discipline works because it builds momentum through small actions. It is not the massive heroic efforts that change life. It is the consistent, repeated behaviors that shape outcomes. Reading a few pages every day, improving a skill little by little, showing up on time, honoring commitments. These simple acts may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound into extraordinary results. Discipline practiced daily becomes a habit, and habits quietly determine the direction of your life. Discipline also strengthens character. Every time you do what you said you would do, you reinforce trust in yourself. This self-trust becomes a powerful internal motivator. You no longer need external pressure because your standards rise. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through. That identity shift is critical for productivity. When discipline becomes part of who you are, productivity stops being a struggle and starts becoming natural. Another powerful aspect of discipline is that it creates structure. Without structure, time slips away unnoticed. Discipline gives your day a framework. You decide in advance how you will use your energy rather than letting distractions decide for you. This structure reduces stress and increases focus. You waste less time deciding what to do next because our priorities are already set. Discipline removes chaos and replaces it with order, and order is a requirement for sustained productivity. Discipline also prepares you for challenges. Life does not get easier as you grow, responsibilities increase, and pressure rises. Without discipline, pressure breaks people. With discipline, pressure sharpens them. Disciplined individuals are better equipped to handle setbacks because they are trained to act even when conditions are not ideal. They understand that consistency matters more than intensity, and that showing up on bad days is often what creates long-term success. Ultimately, discipline is an investment in your future self. Every disciplined action is a message you send to tomorrow saying, I cared enough to prepare. Productivity is not built in moments of excitement. It is built in moments of commitment. When discipline becomes your lifestyle, progress becomes inevitable, and success becomes a natural outcome of who you have trained yourself to be. Small daily habits are the silent architects of a productive life. They work quietly, often unnoticed, but over time, they shape outcomes more powerfully than dramatic, one-time efforts. Jim Rohn emphasized that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, while failure is just a few errors in judgment repeated daily. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because the results are not immediate. But productivity is not built on what feels impactful today. It is built on what compounds tomorrow. Every habit, no matter how small, is a vote for the kind of life you are creating. Waking up a little earlier, reading a few pages, writing down goals, improving a skill for 15 minutes, or choosing focus over distraction may seem insignificant in isolation. But when these actions are repeated daily, they begin to stack. One good habit stray lengthens another. Over time, your habits create momentum, and momentum reduces resistance. What once required effort eventually becomes automatic. The reason small habits are so powerful is because they bypass resistance. Big changes often fail because they demand too much willpower all at once. Small habits, however, are manageable. They don't overwhelm the mind or trigger fear. They are easy to start and easier to maintain. Productive people understand that consistency beats intensity. They would rather do something small every day than something big once in a while. This approach creates stability, and stability is the foundation of long-term growth. Daily habits also shape identity. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. When you consistently practice productive behaviors, you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer say, I'm trying to be disciplined. You start saying, I am disciplined. That identity shift is powerful because behavior always follows identity. Once habits align with who you believe you are, productivity becomes natural rather than forced. Another important truth about small habits is that they work in both directions. Positive habits compound towards success, but negative habits also compound toward failure. Skipping learning, delaying action, wasting time, and ignoring priorities may seem harmless in the moment, but repeated daily, they quietly erode progress. Productive people pay attention to the small things because they understand that life is rarely ruined by one big mistake. It is shaped by small daily choices. Small habits also reduce decision fatigue. When productive behaviors become routine, you no longer waste mental energy deciding whether or not to act. The decision has already been made. You simply follow the system you have built. This frees your mind to focus on higher level thinking, creativity, and problem solving. Structure created by habits removes chaos, and chaos is the enemy of productivity. Over time, the results of small habits become undeniable. What once felt invisible starts to show in skills, confidence, income, and opportunities. People often call this luck, but it is simply the visible result of invisible consistency. A productive life is not built in bursts of motivation. It is built brick by brick through daily habits. When you respect the power of small actions and commit to them consistently, progress becomes inevitable and growth becomes unstoppable. Personal growth is the engine that increases the value you bring to the world. Jim Rohn taught that income rarely exceeds personal development because the marketplace rewards value, not need. When you grow as a person, your skills improve, your thinking sharpens, and your decisions become wiser. Productivity is not just about working harder, it is about becoming better. The more you develop yourself, the more effective every hour of effort becomes. Many people focus only on external results while ignoring internal growth. They chase money, recognition, and opportunities without realizing that these things are outcomes, not starting points. Personal growth changes the quality of your actions. It improves how you communicate, how you manage time, how you solve problems, and how you handle pressure. When you invest in yourself, you raise your standards, and higher standards naturally produce higher results. Continuous learning is a requirement for a productive life. The world is changing constantly, and those who stop learning eventually fall behind. Productive people read, listen, observe, and reflect. They learn from books, mentors, failures, and experiences. They understand that education does not end with school. It begins there. Every new skill learned, every new idea absorbed, and every lesson applied increases personal value. And increased value creates new opportunities. Personal growth also builds confidence. Not the loud, artificial confidence that comes from ego, but the quiet confidence that comes from competence. When you know you are improving, you walk differently, speak differently, and act with greater certainty. This confidence affects productivity because it reduces hesitation and self-doubt. You spend less time questioning yourself and more time executing. Growth removes fear by replacing it with understanding. Another powerful benefit of personal growth is adaptability. Life will not always go as planned. Markets shift, circumstances change, and challenges arise unexpectedly. A person committed to growth is better prepared to adjust because they have trained their mind to learn and adapt. Instead of panicking when things change, they look for lessons and solutions. This adaptability keeps productivity alive even during difficult periods. Personal growth also improves character. It strengthens patience, discipline, humility, and resilience. These qualities are essential for long-term productivity. Talent may open doors, but character determines how long you stay inside. When you grow internally, you become more dependable, more focused, and more consistent. People trust you more. Opportunities come more often. Productivity expands because you are capable of handling greater responsibility. The most important aspect of personal growth is that it compounds. Just like habits, growth builds over time. A small investment in learning each day leads to massive improvement over years. You may not see dramatic changes in a week or a month, but over time, the difference becomes extraordinary. A productive life is not built by chasing shortcuts. It is built by steadily increasing your value. When you commit to personal growth, you NGE the trajectory of your life. You stop asking for more chances and start creating them. You stop hoping for better outcomes and start becoming the kind of person who produces them. Productivity increases naturally because your capacity has increased. As Jim Rohn taught, if you want more, you must become more. And when you become more, everything you touch improves. Time is the most valuable resource you will ever possess because, unlike money, it cannot be saved, borrowed, or replaced. Jim Rohn reminded us that days are expensive, and once a day is gone, it is gone forever. Productive people understand this truth deeply, which is why they treat time with respect. They know that how they spend their hours determines the quality of their life. When time is respected, it rewards you with progress, growth, and results. When it is wasted, it quietly takes opportunities away. Mastering time begins with awareness. Many people lose time without realizing where it goes. Distractions, delays, and unplanned activities slowly consume the day. Productive individuals are conscious of how they use their time. They plan ahead, not to control every minute, but to give direction to their day. Planning creates intention, and intention transforms random activity into purposeful action. When you plan your time, you decide in advance what deserves your attention. Respect for time also means understanding priorities. Not all tasks carry the same value. Some activities move life forward, while others simply keep you busy. Productive people focus on high-value activities, actions that contribute to growth, income, skill, or long-term goals. They are willing to delay comfort and say no to distractions because they understand the cost of misused time. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that matters. Time mastery also requires discipline and focus. Multitasking often feels productive, but it usually reduces quality and increases stress. Productive people work with concentration. They protect their focus from unnecessary interruptions and give full attention to the task at hand. Focus shortens the time required to complete meaningful work and increases the quality of the result. When focus improves, productivity multiplies without requiring more hours. Another important aspect of respecting time is consistency. A productive life is not built in occasional bursts of effort, but in steady daily progress. Using time well each day creates rhythm, and rhythm creates momentum. When momentum is present, progress feels lighter and more natural. Small, focused blocks of time used consistently are far more powerful than long hours used poorly. Respecting time also means respecting yourself. When you value your time, you raise your standards. You stop tolerating unnecessary delays, pointless conversations, and activities that drain energy without offering growth. You begin to understand that your time is your life in measurable units. How you spend it is how you live. This realization changes behavior. You become more intentional, more selective, and more productive. At its highest level, time mastery is about alignment. When your time aligns with your purpose, discipline, and growth, life begins to move forward smoothly. Stress decreases because your actions match your priorities. Progress increases because your effort is directed. Time then becomes an ally rather than an enemy. When time is respected, it rewards you, not with more hours, but with better outcomes, deeper satisfaction, and a life that reflects intentional productivity.